fusionists. Prepare to be taken on a mini-story from the fall of Fusion YGO to its rebirth in 2026. So, I'm going to take you back in time about 2 years. It's February, right around Valentine's Day in 2024. What's supposed to be a time of celebrating love between you and a significant other. And instead, tragedy strikes me in a very violent and unexpected way. I was working somewhere at the time, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because this isn't anyone except the person that did its fault. I was held at gunpoint and the victim of an armed robbery of the place I was working at the time. And that would lead to one of the roughest, hardest years of my life. Over the course of the next few months, I suffered at my job professionally, and I was suffering at home privately. I was anxious, I was scared, I was angry, I was in pain. I was making videos, and thankfully at the time I had Christian to lean on, I had Lucas to lean on. I had a team of people that I could lean on at the time. But it was tough. It was a hard year for me. I gave up a lot of individual and private goals, and a lot of individual, private, everything. My private life, my personal life suffered. And it took a long time. And right as I had left that job, because it was affecting my personal life to a point where I was no longer able to perform at home as a husband, as a father, I was suffering. I was in immense amount of anxiety and pain, mentally, physically. It was affecting every aspect of my life. I had lost my confidence. I had lost my, what some people call swagger. I had lost everything. And then in July of 2024, I lost my game store. My local game store that I'd helped build the Yu-Gi-Oh community in. Gamers Cave closes its doors for good. 4 owners, 4 years through the COVID years, and it fell. It finally had to close its doors for good, like so many other places do. And I had to find somewhere to take my Yu-Gi-Oh community. I had to find somewhere to create a home. In August of 2024, we found that place at A&A Games in Indiana. They allowed me to join their team as a salesman. I tried to show my worth, and I think I still have because they've still kept me employed. And we were able to build our community up again and give them somewhere to go. But I was still struggling. I still wasn't at 100%. I was in a better place mentally, but now I was struggling financially because I left my job, my good paying job. I had to figure out what I was going to do with my life, and Yu-Gi-Oh had to realistically take kind of a back seat. Then I got my life back on order. I got a new job. I started working again, and I was starting to get the groove thing going there, and I had to find a groove with A&A, with everything I was doing personally, getting a rhythm going. My kids were all in school, and we got through the beginning. We got through 2025, the beginning half, and then we hit July 24th of 2025. In July in general. So the NAWCQ was in Indianapolis. Perfectly convenient for me and my team, as that's local for us. And we did the live vlog of what was going on, where we did this preparation video, and I overpromised and underdelivered a lot. I wasn't there. So I did what I produced out the best video I could, giving Christian the best video edits that I could, the best things to work with, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't a good enough video. And I'm not hard on Christian. He did the best he could with very minimal. This was my fault. I hadn't taken a break to get myself right, to get my confidence back, to get my will and my desire and my love for the game back. I was just powering through. I wasn't finding the joy in it. And it showed in the quality of the content that I was producing. So I took a break. July 24th, 2025 was one of the hardest days because it made me face the reality of not having an editor, as Christian was walking away for a separate issue. And I have publicly stated multiple times, I will continue to say so, Christian is one of my best friends and is a wonderful human being, and I wish nothing but the best for him and his family. That is how I feel about the whole Christian leaving thing. He had to do it for himself and his family. I support that 110%. So now, I had to face a world without an editor. I had to face learning how to do the one thing in this game that in YouTube that I've always struggled with and I've consistently said I'm not the best at. I had to learn how to edit. So I took a break. We did one other video in September, which was the ban list reaction video. Shock horror, I did it. I know. YouTube algorithm. We did it. And then we took a break. I needed it. My brain wasn't in it. My heart wasn't in it. And I needed time. I needed time to get my head on straight. I didn't make a big public declaration then, because if I didn't come back, I wanted to fade into the darkness. I wanted to fade into glory. December rolls around, and I finally found that I missed making videos. I love this. This is very fun for me. While I might not put out the best content or the most highly edited, especially now, edited, cleaned up content, I still think I put out fun. And with that fun, now I wanted to come back in 2026. And I think we came back with a bang. Couple of deck profiles, combo tutorials, making sure memberships were worthwhile, giving the memberships something to be, to want to be a part of the community in that regard, while still maintaining the opportunities for everything to be free. With like goals being hit, everything can be free. That's the target. Combo tutorials, you want them, we get them. You'll see the deck first, and then I'll show you how the combos work. Happy to do it. All it needs is the likes, the engagement. The thing to help boost this page back to what it once was. But we have to start somewhere, and I wanted to make sure that stuff comes. When we got our first channel membership, that was huge. And we saw that the 300th YCS is something we can do. So I reached out to the guys. I said, Lucas, David, John, the 300th YCS is only a 10-hour drive from here. Do you want to do it? And they agreed. So today's video, after that long intro of the death and the rebirth of Fusion YGO, today, this video is to all of you. Don't let the bad stay bad. Find the good, find the fun, find the love. And let's get into our 300th YCS preparation video. And we're going to begin it now. We decided as a group, me, Lucas, David, and John, decided we were going to go to the 300th YCS at the very beginning of January, right at the start of the new year. And with that, we decided we were going to start prepping more videos. We were going to put out more content. We were going to work really hard at this. So we started streaming more, got on there collectively, decided on deck lists. We worked really, really hard. We had done a lot of prep behind the scenes because we were going to start doing the live content a little later in the month. So we were working really diligently towards reaching that goal. And then, Konami, in all their wisdom, right before the new set, right before the 300th YCS, giving us a couple of weeks to prepare, which was nice, they dropped a ban list. A Forbidden Limited List update was submitted and sent out to the player base, which hit quite a few cards that shook up what we were planning to take to the 300th YCS. And there's a full breakdown on the channel for it, but we are going to go over what each card was and how it affected everybody here. So here are the changes that were done to the Forbidden and Limited list. Starting off with Forbidden, we had Barrier Statue with the Torrent, didn't affect any of the guys going. Malice Q White Binder, again, didn't affect any of us. Herald of the Arclight, which did directly impact what Lucas was planning on bringing, Pure Yummy. And Harpy's Feather Storm, which didn't affect any of us. So, with the Forbidden changes in these 4 cards, this negatively impacted one of our guys from being able to consistently play the deck he was looking to play. But it gets even weirder when we hit the Limited section. In the Limited section, Draco Tail's Mululu and Ketu Draco Tail were both limited to 1. And while this will directly impact the consistency of Draco Tail, it doesn't really hurt the deck in the long scheme of things, as Mululu going to 1, not a big deal, and Ketu is searchable off of all the other fusion effects, just means you're going to be playing some different engines to kind of supplement it. K966A Joe Cool and A Case for K9 directly impacted what I was going to bring in Orchest K9. Jokel and Case for K9 make it so that the deck is consistent enough to be able to get into the Orchest line and bridge the 2 combos, being able to end on a very layered, disruptive board. This directly impacted my thoughts and my preparations for the event, but lo and behold, it gets weirder with Amino Habakiri Mitsurugi going to 1 as well. This directly benefits a lot of decks, as the splashability now for Mitsurugi has drastically decreased. There are decks that can do it, it's still possible, but now it's a whole lot less consistent with Habakiri at 1 and Herald of the Arclight banned. Yummy Snatchy also went to 1, which really does hurt the recursion. 2 is preferred. 1 makes it very difficult for Yummy to do its full combo and maintain a board presence, and while people like Triff Gaming will tell you that Link Karibo is more impactful, that to me is definitely cope, as you still need to try to get the Yummy Snatchy on board, and it makes it far more susceptible to things like the Bystials, which will probably see an increase in use because of Branded, because of Dragon Link, because of a bunch of other decks that obviously just exist. That makes it a whole lot less consistent in my eyes. I could be wrong, but that to me sounds more like cope than it does legitimate theory. And finally, it's Vanquish Soul Holly Sue. Holly Sue going to 1 indicates a change that may be happening in the Unlimited section. In the semi-limited section, Droll and Lockbird goes to 2. This was one that made the entire Yu-Gi-Oh community freak out in a very positive way. It's a direct way to support the Mulcharmies being used more, sell some sets, and it makes it so Droll is less consistent. But I think if they're going to go less than 2, they need to go straight to 0. Skip the 1. That's a conversation for a different topic. But for this list, you can't play more than 2. And finally, for the Unlimited section, we got White Dragon Wyver Burster, Black Dragon Collapse Serpent back to 3. We've got Dark Grepher back to 3. Those are great welcome additions. A little slow for anymore. Zodiac Trident to 3. And this makes a lot of people very happy. Change of Heart to 3, as well as Snatch Steal. And then, the things that are affected by K9 getting limited in their best starter and their best searcher would be Vanquish Soul Raisin, Stake Your Soul, and Crystron Inclusion. I would expect to see some Crystron decks making an appearance, And I would fully expect to see Zodiac or Vanquish Soul Canine come back into the metagame, as raising at 3 means that you get to play Vanquish Soul, or Canine as a supplementary engine, and you can play more disruptive non-engine than just playing 3 Jokel to get your game started. And that could be huge, especially since Chaotic Elements went on this list completely untouched. So how does this affect us? Well, for some of us it doesn't. Let's get into it. So, it's a few weeks, about 2.5 weeks before the event, the 300th YCS in Richmond, Virginia. And we actually just finished the stream just a few minutes ago, and we know what David is going to be taking. So David is going to be doing the Genesis format most likely. He doesn't feel like he can get the branded stuff together soon enough, doesn't feel confident in playing the list yet, and he's going to go try to trounce the Genesis event that's going on at the same time. And we're looking at either Ashened or Ashened Volcanic. Testing the lists, trying to find the one that works best for him. That's where he's looking. Now, John is a little bit more undecided. John is a savant with Dragon Link and is planning on doing mostly side events, but the main event could be where he finds his flourishing as the Dragon Link deck that we've shown off combos for in our live streams. Come and check them out if you haven't already. But in those live streams, you can see these one-card combos that Dragon Link can do with Loader. That being said, John may do the side events and do the Genesis event with his Amazement deck. And that Amazement deck is something that we've been working on, and we're going to continue working on with him at that point in time. It is currently, at the time of recording this, is January 26th. We just completed that live stream. We just did our one of our Genesis prep live streams, which we're going to do more of to help the other guys prepare. And David's deck looks really solid, really annoying. He was able to put it against Radiant Typhoon with the volcanic stuff, and if we're able to figure out a way to make it more consistent in the interim, to make it so that he can win more games without having the clog down of 60 card deck, and have those big game matchups against decks like Radiant Typhoon, Archmage, and the decks that are going to be prevalent at the Genesis event, well, why wouldn't we take that? And then there's me and Lucas. Let's start with Lucas. Lucas is looking at taking Radiant Typhoon Fiendsmith to the 300th. That's going to be an awesome deck. It is very, very streamlined and very, very fun. It's right up Lucas's alley. It's like a mid-rangey control combo deck. It can do tons of damage. So, with them all decided, what am I going to take? Are we doing this? Yes, I'm taking it. I'm prepping with Orchist. And not just any Orchist. If you look back at the NAWCQ, I prepared with a rank 6 tool, like a 6-box Orchist deck. And looking back at it, there were a couple of ways that deck could break. Well, it was mostly those 2 high-level Orchist names that didn't accomplish anything on their own, being World Crown or World Wand and Nightmare. So how did we change it? We eliminated them completely. You see, I have been theory crafting a pure Orchis deck with the Bystials and a bunch of hand traps and a bunch of going second and a bunch of like non-engine. And we came across this list that I have come up with, and I'll show a brief version of it here in a moment. There's a more detailed version of it available on the channel. I released it a few weeks before the event. If people are prepared for it, people are prepared for it. But I don't think anybody's going to be prepared for pure Orchist. Because the Mitsurugi variant is much more popular, has a higher ceiling, but in my opinion has a much lower floor. Whereas my version has a higher floor, lower ceiling, better in the mid-range. I can break a board consistently. I can do things with the deck that others can't. I have access to ways to being able to summon that the others have to go through an 8-box, whereas I get to do it with interaction. If you've made it this far into the video, then there's a good chance that you like this kind of content. So, there are a few ways that you can support the channel and directly support us. The first and the cheapest is to join our public Discord server, link in the description, and subscribe. Both are completely free, and you'll be able to talk to me and all the other people in the free Discord. Additionally, there is another option, which is becoming a channel member, whereas for as little as $1.99 a month, you get early access to all of our videos, and access to a members-only Discord where you get to directly influence the channel moving forward. With the higher tiers, no, not that one, getting additional perks. Your support is greatly appreciated, and every penny goes back into the channel to give you, the viewer, the best experience. Now, back to the video. It's January 28th. It's our first locals in a while, as our local game store was moving to a new space. We're playing tonight with the new Forbidden Limited list, and while it doesn't go live until February 2nd, this gives us ample opportunity to figure out what exactly we want our decks to be able to, how we want our decks to be able to function moving into the new format. This gives us a little bit more insight into how each individual deck operates, giving us more consistency and more understanding of our decks. Burst Protocol releases in a week. About a week from today at local game stores, at official tournament stores. So we want to get ourselves as familiar with our decks as possible by the time these cards release next week. Now for me, that's not a big deal. I have been playing Orcus since 2019. As long as one of my children's been alive. Like, for me, it's comfort. I am very familiar with my strategy. But for Lucas, who's been playing his deck for now maybe 2 weeks completely digitally, he is going to be given the opportunity to test out his deck in physical play. John is going to be able to continue mastering his Dragon Link strategy, and while he is already an expert at the deck, he plays it religiously, this gives him an opportunity to kind of see what consistency looks like with the changes in terms of things like Droll and Lockbur going from 3 to 2, and other staple cards being moved around. How is he going to be able to play into the boards that those kinds of decks create? There are a couple of outliers in this format as well, and through preliminary testing, obviously we believe that Radiant Typhoon, Yummy are going to both be around. We're going to see a lot of Draco Tail, and we're going to see a lot of Vanquish Soul Canine. And those are like the 4 decks that we're expecting to see. And at the higher end of the rogue side of things, we're expecting to see things like Lunalight and Memento rear their ugly heads to make the format very interesting. With decks like they are currently, I'm expecting a lot of Bestials, I'm expecting a lot of Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion, and I'm expecting quite a few other consistent cards to be in the format, but those are the 2 big ones, is the Bestials and Bell. So, for my strategy for Orcust, how am I going to be able to play into those 2 hand traps that, for the most part, really hurt how my strategy works? Now, they do banish for cost, so that doesn't hurt us in terms of, like, Harpor can't be belled because it banishes as cost, not as effect. But Symbol Skeleton, it can hurt. Galatea Eye, it can hurt. How are we going to play around those things, and what's our game plan moving forward? And while we're fortunate that we have the impulses to be able to deal with things like the Bestials, we do need to have some way to deal with Bell. Just dealing with Symbol Skeleton and Galatea Eye, which can be very impactful for our standard combo lines. So we're going to dive in to this week. We're going to play around. We're going to figure out some consistency stuff. It is possible that I switch to Vanquish Soul Canine between now and the 300th, as I'm very familiar with that deck as well. Let's go jump into locals. Let's go meet up with the guys, and let's, see what's happening. Let's get a game plan together. Here we go. January 28th. It's starting to get real. It's January 31st. I'm working on the math for David's deck, as I needed to step away from tinkering on my list. And I'm listening to some videos in the background, and I had a thought. What are my answers to Imperm and Valor? How do I make the Radiant Typhoon matchup more consistent? My responses to Draco Tail, Branded, and Yummy. How do I hit an elf note? And I don't mean a high note. And I heard someone in the video bring up DD Crow. And I started thinking about how they interact, and an idea hit me. So I save the work, and I dive in. Targeted Interruption, having such a big upswing, means Orcust is a bad choice. Gearsu gets placed stalled out, so I start looking for an answer to these decks. And the first deck I figure out is Radiant Typhoon. With Orcust, it's very simple. I play Cursed Seal of the Forbidden Spell, solves the deck. You prevent them from using Mystical Space Typhoon. MST is no longer an issue. Super Poly and Droplet solve a lot of the end boards for a lot of the top decks. But I'm going through some old footage because I realize that Infinite Impermanence and Effect Valor are turning off Gearsu, and by turning off Gearsu, it really limits my end board and my ability to play the game with Orcust in its current iteration, or in any iteration, really. So, I'm going through this old footage, and I come across an idea. Now, this idea means that I'm not taking Orcust. I'm risking all my bets on a different deck. Now, this deck is my second favorite deck, so it's not really a disappointment, per se, just I'm a little sad I'm not taking Orcust. But, for the 300th YCS, I will be taking Vanquish Soul Canine. So, how is Vanquish Soul Canine going to solve these issues? So first, banish effects don't impact this deck too much, so making, Shifter and DD Crow and even Dimensional Fissure, they're all live. I can play all of them. I can play things like there could be only one effectively. I ignore Infinite Impermanence and Effect Valor as targeted and interruption. Just doesn't matter. And I have a good matchup into Draco Tail, specifically because they activate effects in hand and grave. Yummy may be a little bit more difficult, but I can make up for it with the layered interruptions and the layered gameplay that I'm able to play. So now, with the 300th YCS in less than 2 weeks, I've chosen my fighter. And now it's about streamlining it and making sure it's perfect. And I've got 2 weeks to do it. We got some work to do. It's February 3rd, and the jerseys have arrived today. A good friend of my wife and I, her name's Devin, made these jerseys for me and the guys. So, I think it's time we have a fashion show and see how they look on my big gangly butt. I wonder how they're gonna look. Fashion show time. Here we go. Look at this. It's so shiny. It looks so good. She did an awesome job. You gotta see the back. We got real jerseys. They're actual things. It's gonna be awesome. These are great. I can't wait for the guys to see theirs, which they're gonna be getting tomorrow. So you're gonna get to see that live too. These are really sweet. I'm very excited about this. Let's get to locals. Let's work out some kinks of what we're doing for next week, and let's get this started. All right, so we get the live reaction right now of these guys getting their jerseys. Lucas.
Fuck you.
John. And David.
Yeah. They look dope.
Yeah, they came out really good. They came out really good. I'm very happy with them. David, modeling for us like I did in the video.
Yay.
Now we look like we're a part of a team or something. It's crazy.
Maybe kind of. Just a little.
Look how happy this face is.
Yeah. No, they look cool.
Nice and lightweight.
Yeah.
2 weeks out.
Let's do it.
Let's go. It's February 10th. We have finalized lists. We now know for a fact Lucas is taking Radiant Typhoon, and he's got pretty much everything he needs for it. John is taking Pure Rocket, which we have just picked up everything for. I am taking Vanquish Soul Canine, which I've had everything for. And David is taking his Genesis deck and competing in the Genesis event with Ashen. The decks look fantastic. I'm excited to see what we're going to come up with, especially with the changes from Burst Protocol. I don't know how much it's going to shake up the format entirely. I think Elf Note is overhyped. I think the Rocket stuff has some minor consistency issues with hand trapping at this point. But it can play through some, depending on how you build it. And Radiant Typhoon is starting to become more and more understood by me. It's a little bit easier to plan around. So, the question is how will Draco Tail compete with the Magus discards being added as well as the new fusion monster? How is Yummy going to perform based on how it did historically versus what it is now? And how are the other decks in the format going to shape up? I think it's going to be a very interesting time to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think we're going to see the same triangle format we have been seeing, but with one new deck being thrown in Radiant Typhoon. The most consistently seen version of Radiant Typhoon I've seen is the Yummy version, but the pure version is still very strong. It has some really neat lines. So we're going to dive into it, and we're going to see what all we can do. We'll provide deck profiles separately after the event. I think we're going to do those at the event or after the event, but now it's going to be time. Tomorrow, the 11th, is going to be the last locals before we travel on the 13th, or the 12th, to Richmond. So, tomorrow, February 11th, it's going to be the last locals. Probably won't do much of a recap, we'll just do some filming and have fun there. Then we'll do, on the 12th, the travel from Indianapolis to Richmond, Virginia, and follow it up with the day-to-day of what's going on while we're in Richmond. We'll show you the food, we'll show you the spots we go to, and all the fun we're going to have. It's about time. This is going to be my last check-in until we get to the hotel. So, I guess it's time to say, February 11th, time for locals.
Any of us forgetting.
So we have made it.
Right?
We are officially here in Richmond. We made it up to the room. We're getting ready to go eat. So we're going to go do that.
Food!
I think we should record the food. Let's record some food.
Yeah.
It's The Line, Part 2.
Can.
Have Ash.
Okay.
So we're finishing up prep. We've signed in. We've checked in. Everybody's in. We've got John and Lucas playing a game right now for testing. David is
I know
just
that's
getting
the,
used to
the,
his
the
new
key
lineup.
point that needs to resolve.
And well, my deck is ready, so
Two guys.
we'll show off deck profiles later. We'll do those after day one.
One.
Just because we'll have some results-based information, and that matters, and any changes that we would have made. So we'll be doing deck profiles soon. You'll be getting them on the channel separately.
Activate Piss Baby.
This has been a really fun trip. We ate some really good food. I actually have pictures of it, so you'll probably see it here.
Yeah. It's just floating around.
Fantastic.
Just circling
Yeah.
around the
Just
head right now.
swirling up here. I don't think I'm good enough for that, but
Christian, we need your help for one thing.
fix this clip.
Getting Dissipator.
Yeah.
Activate.
jeez.
Drewsworm.
I purged his Trisworld. That's the thing that's kind of like made this a little weird.
Activate
Drewsworm's
Drewsworm. Gets
That's the only thing that's weird at all.
Yeah, that's
this shit out of here.
still a board.
Fuck it.
I
opened exactly one interruption.
realize my cards are better than I
Dispaters
actually
are-
thought they were.
Bring back Tracer.
Fantastic. Well, we're gonna check out here. We'll get some videos and stuff for the day for day
wait,
one,
no, I can't.
and I'll have little snippets here and there.
Oh, yeah, you can right
so we'll go after round, and you guys will see it soon. So math. Round one, I played against K9 Chris John, and game one he opened full combo, and my only interaction was a DD Crow, which doesn't do anything really into that matchup, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. But it left me in a game state where like my opening hand had Jokel, had Chaotic Elements, Case for K9, a DD Crow in hand that was nothing, and I think it was another monster that just didn't do anything. It was Lantern. And then my top deck was Raisin, which could do things, except I have like 5 interactions that I'm dealing with. It just wasn't enough in game one. Game two, I opened Izuna, Shifter, Ghost Bell, Ash, and X-Force Released. I just opened Improbable. It is what it is. I was in a winning game state for a minute there, and what I should have done with later in my turn, I should have gone into Raisin. I should have normal summoned a Raisin, attempted the search, got ashed. Is what it is. I had already been belled, so what I should have done is attacked, done the damage, moved into Rock, added Raisin back to hand, so I continued having plays. That was a mistake that I made. I just left Raisin on the board for damage. Not thinking about it. I could have used Raisin as interaction later because I had a Dark and a Fire in hand, and I could have done things because I kept my hand traps pretty close, low to the ground. Is what it is. Nothing I can do about it. So we live, we learn. It's a bad round one, but we turn it around from here. So not a great open, but we'll start locking in now. I don't know what happened there. Hopefully the guys will send me their stuff, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
So match one ended 1-2. I lost, but it was against Draco Tail branded, and just happened to be opening up Ash and Bell every game to out all of my Radiant Typhoon cards. Yay!
Round two. Radiant Typhoon. Game one, it was playable. I didn't really misplay. It was just he had more interaction than I thought he did. Game two, I was able to combo into Fua and leave him with nothing under Mistaken Arrest. Game three, I lost to freaking Vanity's Fiend. Like, I don't know. Wait, he attempted Crocy. Was he able to? Oh, he linked out of it. I don't know. Ridiculousness. Whatever. It doesn't matter. All right, so we lock in. I can't lose anymore. Great. Here we go again.
Match two, I went 1-2 again against Radiant Typhoon Pure also. Game one, he just went full combo. I had no interaction, and I wasn't going to be able to break the board. Game two, we had a little bit of grind fest, but I came out on top. Game three, he went full combo, and I made a small misplay where I had summoned Varun before using Perulia, and that cost me the game. But other than that, I mean, the game overall went pretty fair and fun. So looking forward to round three.
Round three was against Magnet Warriors. It was actually really neat. Opponent was really cool. Ended up taking it with game one, just full combo for the first time all day. Game two, I was able to just kind of double Perulia, and I drew into enough fives that I was able to just keep him off of stuff going second and break board. It does create some really interesting layered interruptions, so a deck to look at for the future. Round four, here we go. Returning to round.
Round three, played against Draco Tail branded again, but person was pretty new to the game, so he went to combo, but I was able to break his board in game one. Then in game two, he didn't really he set up Invader, but didn't really have anything else to do with it, and I just outed that with the Varoons, put it back in the back row, and then just went combo, and he just scooped it up there. So, I mean, it was fun to play, so round 4 time.
He's right there.
Okay, so we finished it, as you've probably heard. I did not record a round 4. I was frustrated. I didn't want to do a bad video then. I wasn't in the right headspace. So, lost round 4, played a Radiant Typhoon. I had 4 hand traps and they just didn't play into one of them. And then my top deck did not get me out of it. It was only Azuna, is what it is. And that numbs the haps. That's what happens. 300th YCS, we were out in X4. My literal worst showing ever at an event. I'm disappointed, frustrated with the result there. But Lucas and I decided we were going to eat. We took advantage of the time and we sat, we ate, and then we joined a tag tournament. And Lucas and I, hold on, I'm going to show you. You might have seen the video already. It's on the channel. Check it out. Lucas and I won the tag duels with the lists that you'll see soon. This one here on the left is mine. That's Lucas's. It's really cool. So we're in it, and now we're gonna go prep David's deck. You'll get some B-roll of us basically just crafting and stuff. That's all it'll be, and you'll be able to see what we're doing. So we'll go do that now, and we'll have pizza and stuff too. So you'll probably get to watch us eat. You will see pictures of some of our food because I took pictures of stuff, and it was an awesome experience here in Richmond so far. We still got one more day, and then a 10-hour drive home. That's the part I'm dreading.
You have to drive.
Yeah, right. All right, 3v3 circuit coming. Stay tuned, and we'll see you guys soon. Fusionists, we're home. After a 12-hour car ride because I could not see through fog, I've made it home. And we will have the deck profiles for what we played at the event coming out in the next couple of days. Next week or two. Overall, I learned a lot at this event. One is that no amount of math will make sense perfectly. It'll always... RNG is a thing. And I had to learn from that and adapt, and we've made it even better moving forward. That is a net positive for this event, is that I learned something and I can learn and extrapolate it for the future. I couldn't get any B-roll for the trip back, as, again, we could not see more than like 50 feet in front of our face for the entire 12-hour car ride home, which should have been 10, but I had to drop everybody off and we couldn't see for like 90% of the drive. It was fantastic. Richmond was a very fun city, even for the parts that, like, for everything that we did while we weren't at the venue itself. We found a really cool seafood restaurant called the Hard Shell in downtown Richmond, and it was fantastic. We found this place called JD's Kitchen, which was also fantastic. Little ghetto place, but like the place looked like it had been robbed, but the food was great. The service was great. It's just a little hole in the wall, and it was fantastic food. It was 10 out of 10. It was great food. It was a very fun experience to go to Richmond. If you saw this, the post earlier, Lucas and I did win a tag duel. We got second place in the other one that we entered, but that was just because of bad luck on my end. Opening, 4 of 9 spells. And they didn't do anything because 2 of them were the same. I'm not upset, you're upset. And one of them was searchable. It was great. It was just fantastic. It just didn't work out. It is what it is. Happens. We still did really well. We got some other stuff. We participated in a couple of events. It wasn't our weekend, and it isn't always. Sometimes you're going to spend a ton of money in a big trip and find out that weekend, it just wasn't your weekend. You can't know that until you get there, until you do it. It is a good experience to do it. We probably won't do any of these big YCSs for a while, these big trips. They're hard on the pocketbook. They're hard on the family. So if you would like to see us at more of these, though, feel free. I would love to vlog the experience. This is a very fun time. This was a really fun project to work on. Like I said, you will see their experiences and get their actual intake from John and from Lucas's perspective. You've already seen it. You'll also get their deck profiles, like I said, in the next couple of days. And I will work on getting David's deck profile for his Ashen deck, as it's amazing, even though there was a huge amount of mess up for the Genesis thing. A bunch of people weren't able to play just because miscommunications between everybody. From my understanding, this is just my understanding, I don't know all the details. Everything, and on the website it said the Genesis event has to sign up through Neuron and submit their deck list through Neuron. That's what we all thought. Come the day of, they're supposed to submit it on the site, but it didn't say that anywhere. So they're finding out scrambling, having to submit their deck list. And it fell apart, and David wasn't able to play, and that stinks. We were able to do the 3v3s. We picked up quite a few cards that we needed and wanted. And you know what? It was overall a great event, a great experience. That Radiant Typhoon deck that won, what an amazing list. It was when we were listening to it in the car, which I couldn't record as I was driving and we couldn't see, and it was really bad. It was super dark. It was hard. That was an awesome experience. I was cheering. We were all having fun with it. What a neat list. What a creative idea. And, I mean, Vanquish Soul Canine in the finals is awesome. Vanquish Soul Canine taking over in Europe was really cool. I don't know what happened in Guadalajara, but that's neither here nor there. It was an impressive weekend for Yu-Gi-Oh! It was a fun experience for me and my friends, and I hope to see you guys at the next one in the next couple of months. We'll be at regionals. You'll see us around. We're testing some new stuff. We had inspiration and brain blasts for some new decks, so we're working on that. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you guys in the future. And until next time, lads, Fusionists, good fun. Have luck.